what kind of reminded me is that Shiloh just turned 18 and she, legally wanted Pitt removed from her last name. So someone posted the court documents from what happened in the famous airplane incident. And I'm not sure if you're familiar with this.
Welcome to Guys We
Hello, fuckers. How you doing? Where you been? Who you doing it with? Welcome to another episode of Guys We Fucked.
It's the Anti-Slut-Shaming Podcast. I'm Corinne Fisher.
I'm Krystyna Hutchinson.
Welcome. And if you're living in Salt Lake City, well, it's a cool city and I'm excited to come
pretty.
there. And I will be there for one night only on September 26th with Chloe LeBranch doing Eye of the Tiger Tour. It's our last date of the Eye of the Tiger Tour. So make sure to get your tickets at CorinneFisher.com. A good portion of them are already sold out. So don't wait on this. All right. Thank you.
If you want to email us, it's SorryAboutLastNightShow@gmail.com. Today's subject line, should I tell my friends that our friend is a rapist? Oh, well, let's get into it, baby. Dear Corinne and Krystyna, I'm a 7-year fucker, Luminary subscriber, first-time writer. Congratulations. Thank you. I've been completely consumed by a dilemma, and I feel really alone due to its sensitive nature. I'm hoping you might have some advice or input on my situation. I'm a 30-year-old cis straight woman, but this issue started back in college. For some background, back in college, I was very close with two guys who we'll call Ken and Cody. That sounds like a rapist. They were like my brothers. Our sophomore year of college, they became friends with a guy we'll call Jack. He was just your average guy. Picture khaki pants, brown leather, lace-up boots, plaid flannel, sounds hot, cargo jacket, beanie, rectangular oversized glasses. Ugh, I totally fall for this guy. I always thought he was normal, down-to-earth, good guy. I never became close with him, but he came around to hang out pretty often for the next 3 years of school and was always really nice to be around. After a farewell party on one of the last days of senior year, everyone was really drunk, including Jack, and Jack raped me while I was unconscious. Don't want to go into it too much in detail here because it's triggering. Totally cool. I didn't confront him. I didn't report it. I was so ashamed that I only felt safe enough to tell one girlfriend who was not in the same friend group. Thanks to graduation days later, I was happy to never have to see that man again. I went years feeling the trauma brought on from that night, and I've talked tirelessly in therapy about it, but to this day have not fully healed. Now, 9 years later, I'm at Ken's destination wedding. Oh, fuck, girl. And none other than Jack shows up to surprise everyone. He lives in Colorado. We all live in NYC, so I was shocked he was still even friends with Ken. Seeing him felt like getting punched in the gut. I felt so lonely to know that none of my friends there knew what he did. The sight of him put me in a spiral, reliving the trauma of that awful night. I tried to lay low so that he wouldn't notice me. I was catching up with Cody when he unknowingly waved over Jack to say hello. Oh, that sucks, girl. I was forced to greet him, but remained cold and standoffish before quickly escaping to another group. Good. After that uncomfortable encounter, my message was received. From that point on, Jack avoided me as much as I avoided him the rest of the night. Good, that little fucker felt guilty. So here are the things I'm struggling with. Number one, it's become clear to me that although Jack isn't in NYC hanging out with all of us, he still has a relationship with Ken and Cody. This likely will not be the last time we're at the same event together. Should anyone know what he did? For something as serious as this, my discretion is very important. This could ruin his life. I don't really care about that. He was and seems to still be a good guy. Was?
Huh?
I don't think he was.
Huh?
That might be the trauma talking.
Yeah.
Which is normal, but just know that.
And also, I mean, yeah, in an ideal world, it actually would ruin his life. But I would say that very rarely does rape ruin the perpetrator's life in the same way that it ruins the survivor's life.
And when you say he was and still seems to be a good guy, how do we know that's not a facade that he very carefully crafted? You know what I'm saying?
He's not. I'm going to make the decision for you. He's not a good guy because a good guy wouldn't do that. And yes, I do believe that we are all humans and we are capable of both good and evil. So I'm sure he has done some good in his life. Okay.
Yeah, those two things can exist.
So did Hitler, you know, like, okay.
He was and seems to still be a good guy, but he did something awful. Do people deserve to know? Does he deserve people looking at him differently for a mistake? Yes, he raped you. Yes.
And also, it wasn't a mistake.
It wasn't an accident.
Yeah, a mistake is something that, a mistake is an accident.
You were passed out.
And he made the decision. It can be a decision that he regrets. That is not a mistake, though. A mistake is when people spell my name with 2 R's. That's a mistake.
It's 2 N's, you guys.
That's a mistake.
It's 1 R, 2 N's.
Okay.
If I shouldn't tell Ken and Cody, should I tell their partners who are more removed from Jack and might be able to alert me if he'll be at another event? And number 2, I'm not sure if avoiding him was the right way to handle the situation. I think it was. And he got the fucking message, like you said, and that's good because he knew he was guilty because he raped you. It felt really immature and childish. No, it wasn't. But I couldn't stomach being nice to somebody that has caused me so much pain. Of course, girl. Of course. What would be the right way to be around Jack if we are at the same place again? There's no right way to be around him.
Right. And it's so interesting because you presented the other option besides being cold as being nice. And to me, the only other option besides being cold was confronting him directly.
Yeah. And be like,
being
why'd
nice
you rape me?
Wasn't even an option that I considered until you brought it up.
Yeah. What gets me the most is I never got an apology or an explanation from Jack. Do I need to confront him or should I just heal on my own and continue to avoid him? Thank you for all you do. Your thoughts and feedbacks are so appreciated. Love you both. So I'm really fucking sorry this happened to you. I'm so sorry you had to be surprised by this. Ken and Cody, if you're good friends with them, I would let them know what he did. I would let them know because if they're my good friends, I need them to understand who their other friend is. He might not be like that anymore. Maybe. I don't know. That we always hear from victims. We never hear from the pieces of shit that do this. Okay. So I don't understand what the psychology is with that, what his pattern is, if he's still doing it, if he's not, I don't know. But I think if I was your friend, if I were Ken or Cody, I would want to know that this happened. I'd be like, oh my God, you were keeping that in to yourself for so long. Granted, these are men's, but I feel like they have a heart. So I would lean on your friends for support.
Yeah.
And then if it ousts this piece of shit Jack, good. Oh wow, now we can feel how a little iota of how you've been feeling this entire decade.
Yeah, and I don't think that like you brought up, should I perhaps tell their partners? I would say hard no on that. We live in a world where women continuously have to shoulder the emotional burden of everything. Yeah. Their partners aren't your friends. Ken and Cody are your friends. And quite frankly, if they don't respond in the proper way to this, they shouldn't be your friends anymore.
Yeah.
The most important part, though, is this last part where you say, or should I just heal on my own? It's been 9 years and you seem to not have healed, and I mean that in the nicest way. So you need to do something else for yourself. And it seems like the keeping it between you and your therapist hasn't been enough.
Yeah.
It hasn't healed you in the way you need. Obviously, this was completely unexpected, but it just if
you're alone in this.
Yeah, it feels like you
That's not
need
helpful.
a support system in your friends, family, someone else. And quite frankly, it feels like it might be helpful for you to confront your rapist directly, especially now because because after all these years, after not thinking you would ever see him again, you did see him again. Like
just living his life, huh?
It wouldn't be coming out of nowhere, you know, to call him on the phone, or I mean, it would never be coming out of nowhere. But
in my fantasy world, I
to
would
call him on the phone,
wedding.
or no, you can't do it at the wedding. That's ruining. Well,
not someone's wedding, but like an event, like
Yeah. So I mean, I think the healing that you've done up until now has gotten you to a certain point, but it hasn't gotten you all the way there. So I think you need the help of people who are actually real members of your life, not just a therapist. You know, you've done the internal work. Now you can do the external work. And unfortunately, it's more work for you.
Yeah. But on the other side of it is happier times. I promise you. It doesn't feel good to heal. So please know that. Also, the opposite of trauma is connection. So you have to start building connections with your friends and your support system. If it's just you and just your therapist that knows that this happens, then you're still in this alone. And that's only going to exacerbate the trauma.
Yeah, and I think it's really up to the person who the thing happened to, like how bad they want the retaliation or reaction to be. So like, if you are truly concerned that you don't want it to, in quotes, ruin this guy's life, I think you can preface that when you're telling, Ken and Cody, but I wouldn't be overly, like, it feels like you're trying to be overly nice and like protective of this guy. I think you can also just state what happened matter-of-factly, and everyone in your life can make their decisions based on the information that they hear without, needing the bias. And then that will really reveal who you have in your life already, the character of the people that you have in your life already. Yes,
it will. Thank you for writing. And, well, this unintentionally is related, kind of. I have a Patreon where once a week I do group Zoom therapy over Zoom. We go for about an hour. We talk about heavy shit. People come in, talk about sexual assault. People come in, talk about they talk about the woo-woo stuff, like experiences that they've had. They talk about like just kind of concepts that they're trying to figure out about themselves. And it's just a really beautiful space of connection. Like I said, the opposite of trauma is connection. When you connect with a group of strangers that you don't know on a deep level, it gives you like this, not a high, because that's not something anybody should ever chase, but it makes you feel like a person, but in a good way. And most of the time I feel like a person, but in a bad way. And so, yeah, it's a great space. You could sign up for a free trial. All the audio gets uploaded to the Patreon afterwards. And I also put in book recommendations once a month. I do 5 book recommendations, and I watch near-death experience videos every day. And the ones that really stick out to me, that really move the needle for me, I post about those too. So you get a lot of more stuff. Patreon.com/Krystyna Hutchinson. And I have a solo podcast every Monday, Voices in Our Heads. Go listen to it wherever you get your podcasts.
And you know me, I host Without a Country podcast if you want to get more in the know about politics and social issues. And we do a lot of cults too, cults and domestic violence, because that's in the news a lot. Make sure to head over to YouTube and subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's free, Without a Country podcast. And I am now an independent podcast, so those subscriptions mean even more. Again, they're free, and we live stream the show every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern time. I've noticed that we took the S out. We've took the standard out of, it used to be EST, and now everyone just writes ET.
Right.
And I didn't
PT.
I didn't get the memo about that,
Yeah.
but so it's at 9 p.m. ET, and you can call in live to the show. You can email me withoutacountrypodcast@gmail.com. Only in related to that show. Sometimes you guys try to sneak guys we fucked emails in there. You know what I do? I delete. That's not what that show is. That's not what that inbox is for. And it pisses me the fuck off. All right. Anything you want to talk about today?
Well, there was an interesting, when you were talking about the choking article.
Yes.
So I subscribed to Dan Savage's newsletter, and he had this really interesting dilemma from a mom. The thing was called Mommy Issues. It was around Mother's Day, and I was like, oh, let me read this. It's nothing to do with a mentally ill mom, which I was happy to find. This mom goes, I'm an intelligent, open-minded mom of a 13-year-old boy. Recently, I found out that my son entered an online dom-sub relationship where he was asked his mistress to give him degrading tasks like drinking his own semen. Of course, his
go, boy.
His mistress. I know. I'm like, where the fuck did this kid get his testicles?
Guy?
His he asked his mistress to give him degrading tasks like drinking his own semen. I'm like, that's for a 13-year-old. That's fucking advanced.
I know.
And freaks me out.
Eric, what's the kinkiest thing you did when you were 13? Are we missing something?
I mean, he had porn. This kid has Pornhub. This is crazy.
Yeah, I'm not drinking my own cum at 13 years old. That's insane. I didn't even know what dom and sub was until like a year ago.
Yeah.
Oh, Eric.
Good man. Of course, his mistress asked him to prove his loyalty by providing her with money in the form of gift cards. This is how I found out about this relationship. My Amazon account was suddenly filled with gift card purchases. This person signed from your slave. I immediately contacted this mistress and advised her, or probably a dude, that she was engaged in an inappropriate relationship with an 8th grader. This kid hasn't even had his first kiss yet, Dan, let alone a physical relationship with anybody. And this is the mom.
King.
The mom's trying to be cool with this. I don't want to shame his kinks, but I'm also very concerned that this is far too advanced for a kid his age to even understand.
Whoa.
I agree, lady. Over the years, he's had a fixation with women's feet and giant women stomping on small figurines, all in this anime / manga. Again, I really want him to grow up healthy attitudes towards sex.
I can't believe she knows about all this.
Maybe
Yeah.
Robert Crumb.
But this is parenting at a whole new level. Is it possible for me to dial back this very adult behavior? I'm overwhelmed and puberty has just begun.
Oh my God. Well, she should just ruin it for him by start dressing up in leather and like treating him like a sub. Ruin his kink.
Oh, right.
That'll
That's
get your
a good
Amazon.
advice.
That'll get your Amazon account back to square one in no time, lady.
Dude, I'm like,
are you a bad boy?
He's a bad boy, literally a boy. The sexual imagination of these young men, I'm like, I'm kind of, between that article you read on choking and that, I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, we're fucked.
Oh, I think it's great. Actually,
I think the
that's
population's going to go away.
No, I think it's why. Like Gen Z guys fucking rule.
Yeah? Okay.
Sexually.
Yeah?
Yeah. I think it's why
they
they fucking
got-
rule. They're just open to so much more. Yeah. They're just,
but when
they're just open to things. I mean, there is that. The negative part is that I think there's this insatiability, sexually.
That's the part that I'm like, dude.
But the thing is, men get tired of us regardless. So might as well get tired of us for an interesting reason, because you got into sub-dom things, not just because like you fucked your secretary,
that's so hack.
Fuck someone else. Cheat on me for an interesting reason. Maybe I'll respect you more. That's what I feel.
Yeah, it does hurt worse when it's a boring one. I can't even fucking write a joke about this because it's so hack.
You're just like,
just
boring.
like everybody else.
Boring.
He's just waiting for the Sadie Hawkins dance.
Oh my
God.
Sadie Slavkins dance, baby.
He's gonna go on a leash.
Just the visual.
He's gonna go on a leash.
The fucking visual of finding the Amazon gift card that says "Love Your Slave." I mean, I would cackle. I would cackle. That's so funny. That almost makes me want to be a parent because that's just so funny. That's so funny. Well, so I just wanted to, I guess the theme of today's episode is bad men, but also the theme of every episode of Guys We Fucked for the past 5 years.
Bad man.
So, I was just on Twitter and I follow a lot of, like feminists and like anti, domestic abuse feeds as opposed to all those pro-domestic. Honestly,
it's called UFC, baby.
Yeah, like you think there aren't any, but like so many of like the guys stuff is like thinly veiled domestic and verbal women abuse. And I just like, this was just a reminder of like, Brad Pitt is like a really bad guy, and we don't remember. And what kind of reminded me is that Shiloh just turned 18, and she legally wanted Pitt removed from her last name, and so someone posted the court documents from what happened in the famous airplane incident. And I'm not sure if you're familiar with this. So this is the private airplane incident where Angelina, after she got off the plane, decided to get divorced from Brad Pitt because he was so abusive. And I just wanted to read this court document to everyone because I feel like our targeting of bad men is very selective. And often it's like either like
when you're a beloved hot bad man.
Exactly. When you're hot, certainly when you're hot and white, that's why Harvey Weinstein wasn't a loss, right? Because he was ugly and is ugly, so it doesn't matter. But like when you're aesthetically hot, especially when you're white, like we let things slide a little bit more when you're in a bunch of Quentin Tarantino movies, who's also a problem. And I'm so mad because I broke my no Quentin Tarantino movie rule to watch Once Upon a Time in Hollywood because everyone said how great it was.
It wasn't that good.
And that movie sucked.
Yeah, it wasn't
okay,
great.
I'm sorry. That movie fucking sucked. And all right, so this is why Jolie separated from Pitt. So it's a cross complaint of Angelina Jolie against William B. Pitt and Mondo Bongo, which I guess maybe that's the plane company.
Oh, okay.
Or maybe it is the production company. I'm not sure what Mondo Bongo is. On September 14th, 2016, Jolie's marriage came to an end. On that day, Jolie, Pitt, and their children were flying to Los Angeles from Chateau Miraval. Throughout the long overnight flight, Pitt was physically and emotionally abusive to Jolie and their children, who were then between the ages of 8 and 15. After that flight, for her family's well-being, Jolie decided to file for divorce. As documented in a lengthy and detailed FBI report, Pitt's aggressive behavior started even before the family got to the airport, with Pitt having a confrontation with one of the children. After the flight took off, Jolie approached Pitt and asked him what was wrong. Pitt accused her of being too deferential to the children and verbally attacked her. An hour and a half later, Pitt abruptly walked over to Jolie, demanding, "Come here," and directed her to the back of the plane. He pulled her into the bathroom and began yelling at her. Pitt grabbed Jolie by the head and shook her, and then grabbed her shoulders and shook her again before pushing her into the bathroom wall. Pitt then punched the ceiling of the plane numerous times, prompting, and also like just extra scary on the plane.
You can fucking go down. What are you doing?
Prompting Jolie to leave the bathroom. As she exited, one of their children asked, "Are you okay, mommy?" Pitt yelled back, "No, mommy's not okay," and started deriding Jolie with insults. When one of the when one of the children verbally defended Jolie, Pitt lunged at his own child, and Jolie grabbed him from behind to stop him. To get Jolie off his back, Pitt threw himself backwards into the airplane seats, injuring Jolie's back and elbow. The children rushed in and all bravely tried to protect each other.
Poor babies.
Before it was over, Pitt choked one of the children and struck another in the face.
Holy shit.
Some of the children pleaded with Pitt to stop. They were all frightened. Many were crying. With nowhere to go and to avoid Pitt's wrath, Jolie and the children sat still and silent under blankets. Nobody dared to go to the bathroom. Pitt periodically emerged from the back of the plane to yell and swear at them. At one point, he poured beer on Jolie. At another, he poured beer and red wine on the children. After many tense hours, Pitt finally fell asleep. Jolie then arranged for separate transportation at the airport. After they landed, Jolie cautioned the children that no matter what Pitt did, they should not intervene. She then went to wake Pitt up and told him that she and the children were going to a hotel. Pitt once again screamed at her and pushed her down yet again. He shouted that nobody was getting off the plane and prevented the family from deplaning for about 20 minutes. After a child intervened and demanded to leave, Pitt finally relented. But once outside the plane door, Pitt again physically abused one of their children. He also grabbed and shook Jolie by the head and shoulders, causing one of her children to beg, "Don't hurt her." He let Jolie go, but then called her a bitch before adding, "Fuck you, fuck you all." Jolie and the children then left and made it to a hotel. 5 days later, on September 19th, 2016, Jolie filed for divorce. Having been alerted to Pitt's conduct by a third-party witness, the FBI launched an investigation. Wow. After interviewing various witnesses, the FBI agent who conducted the investigation concluded that the government had probable cause to charge Pitt with a federal crime for his conduct that day, and the agent prepared a probable cause statement for referral to the United States Attorney's Office for prosecution. So I think we just we all know that they had a problem in the marriage. I didn't realize he was we kind of know about this thing called the airplane incident, but I don't, and even me who is so invested in pop culture, I don't know if I ever had read, I knew that there was I thought it was they were on an airplane and he kicked her or something. I didn't know the extensive, and then I'm not that kicking someone is okay, but I didn't really know the extent of it. And then this was truly he caused terror in this place where you already have a lack of control. And I mean, even though obviously it's a private jet, and you still think, well, this is Angelina Jolie. But unfortunately, when it's Angelina Jolie versus Brad Pitt, Brad Pitt is the authority in that. He's the more famous person. He is the man. He's, I'm sure has more money.
Tarantino casted him.
Yeah. So I just that, there are some people who are just able to act like monsters and slip through the cracks.
Right.
But if you actually listen to the children, not only Shiloh, but the other, there's another, one of the male children, I forgot which one, but has written extensively on Instagram about what a terrible person Brad Pitt is.
Wow.
And I think it's either people think, oh, this is just some, spoiled Nepo baby, or
where's your
a lot
heart?
of people think Angelina Jolie brainwashed them, because that's what people always think in, divorce, that people often, no pun intended, pit children against, the mom often pits the children against the husband, or sometimes, so, but I mean, obviously that's just one side of the story, but I think, if the children's behavior is any window into what actually happened on the plane that day, and you just know that wasn't an isolated incident.
No, you don't all of a sudden beat your entire family on a plane. Yeah. That's not an overnight thing.
Fuck you, Brad Pitt.
Yeah, fuck you, Brad Pitt.
He will continue to be at the Oscars, and he will continue to make movies and get paid handsomely.
What is justice for that? Obviously not that, right? Being prevented from having a career that you want.
Yeah.
That's, I guess, justice? I don't know though, man. Yeah. I don't know. How much should people
and all of this is, of course, is allegedly according to court documents.
Right. All right, guys, are you ready for our guest? I'm so excited for this interview. I interned with this woman back in the day at NBC, and I loved her. And then I started reading her new book, and I'm like, holy shit, that was going on. She's one of my attention to detail heroes. She's an Emmy Award nominated writer, comedian, director, and host of the podcast Glamorous Trash. You've seen her work on TV shows like Not Dead Yet, Girls 5 Forever. She was the head writer on Jon Stewart's latest show, show. Her new memoir is so beautifully written. I'm devouring it currently. I highly recommend you get it. It's called I Shouldn't Be Telling You This, and it's out now. Please welcome to the show,
Chelsea Devantez.